In honor of Mr. Gay, we will now be reciting the Pledge of Allegiance. Right hand salute. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Good evening, all. I'm Darnell Smith, Florida Blues Market President for the North Florida region. I am honored to stand before you here today in the presence of our community, friends, and family. Thank you so much for joining us in celebrating not only someone who is a well-known businessman, but a man who is well respected by all, a philanthropist, a giver, and a family man who had the hearts of all of Northeast Florida. William Wiley Gay passed away peacefully at age 93 on Tuesday, March 31st, 2020. At his passing, he was comfortable in his home, surrounded by his loving family. William Gay, affectionately known as Bill, was born October 15th, 1926, and attended high school locally at Robert E. Lee High School. After high school, he continued on to the University of Florida, where he earned his Bachelor in Science in 1949. Bill began his career part-time in mechanical contracting with Henley and Heckworth during his undergraduate days. As he continued to work in this field, he organized his own company, W. Gay Mechanical Contractors Incorporated. In 1962 is when he made that happen. The majority of Jacksonville natives would recognize Mr. Gay's company by noticing his iconic blue building and the prominent American flag proudly flying high just off of I-10. He gave credit to God for all of his success and lived his faith out daily. He was a devoted and loving husband to Eloise Gay for 67 years, a father, grandfather, great-grandfather, uncle, and friend. He taught his family the value of faith, loyalty, generosity, perseverance, self-discipline, and to always have a strong work ethic. His family continues to successfully fulfill his legacy. He was the father of 4 children. His 8 grandchildren and 20 great-grandchildren affectionately knew him as Papa. His greatest treasure in his life was his family. He was dearly loved by each of them. Bill Gay was a member of St. John's Presbyterian Church and was involved in many civic and philanthropic organizations. Bill loved his country and was proud to have served in the Merchant Marines during World War II. Bill was heavily involved in making Jacksonville what it is today and achieved many things in his role as a community leader. He was instrumental in the development of Jacksonville as a leader, a citizen, and as a mechanical contractor. We are here to celebrate an individual of esteemed influence. As we take a walk down memory lane in the life of Mr. William W. Gay, you'll see the large impact and lives he touched throughout our First Coast community, from his family to his company, and even into our vast sports world. Mr. Gay would want us to be cheerful when remembering how he influenced many lives and the community he had called home. I appreciate the work of Mr. Gay and his love for this community and the YMCA. I believe we all agree in the power of the YMCA to change lives. I believe this is why Mr. Gay loved the YMCA, and so do I. There's a tremendous amount of work that went into the formation of this virtual celebration. As we all know, Mr. Gay was involved in a plethora of events and built meaningful connections throughout our city. We wish we could have all gathered for this occasion. We have still found a way, though, to honor and celebrate Mr. Gay. This has allowed us to share this memorial celebration far and wide for all to watch in the comfort of our own homes. Thank you to the key people who made this celebration happen. A special thank you to W. Gay, Miller Electric, and the YMCA. Bill Gay's generosity was widespread, and we look forward to the future where we will continue to honor his legacy. We would also like to give great appreciation to the Legacy Committee, Mr. Gay's family, friends, and colleagues in assisting with the details needed to make this coming together a success. During this celebration, you will see the impact Mr. Wiley Gay had on so many lives. Now enjoy this hour with us learning about Mr. Gay, his life, his legacy, and the Winston YMCA. We will touch on the four most important aspects in Bill Gay's life: family, business, sports, and public service. To start off the program, we will meet with some noteworthy people in his life: Paul Jones and Leah Jones Copham, 2 of 8 grandchildren, will share their stories and memories of their grandfather, Papa Bill Gay.
So, Mr. Gay to us, he was our papa, and I always called him Pop. But so, his early life, he was born in West Palm Beach and came from nothing. Everything he did, he's a self-made man, and it's an amazing story, to the point that his father was a blacksmith and traveled anywhere the work was, to the point that his family even lived in tents. His background just allowed him to always remember where he came from, and I think it's what made him to be so generous.
Like Paul said, grew up without much, and so he's worked all of his life. Every day of his life he worked, and his father always told him that it was good that he had to work because that would keep him out of trouble. And because of that, I feel like he just grew to love work. He never really had hobbies. His work was his hobby. He loved what he did, and that always shined through in everything he did. And I think because of that, his business just grew into this incredible gift, and he never took credit for it. He always said it was from the Lord. So while Papa was a timekeeper, he met my grandmother for the first time when she came onto a job site looking for her brother, and she ultimately took a woodworking class to learn how to make an easel for her 2nd grade class, and Papa was her teacher, and she got an A, and the story is still unfinished as to whether she earned the A or he gave her the A, because he was smitten from the moment he met her.
So they were married in 1950, June 7th, 1950, and they married in Orlando, Winter Park. And the neat thing is they bought their house in 1953. Since he was a merchant marine, he didn't get a GI Bill or any help from the government with regards to buying a home, so his brother-in-law, Peck Borey, actually let him use his GI Bill to buy their house. And again, one really neat thing is that he lived in that house until the day he died. So he literally lived there for almost 70 years. And sets a great example because it was never about material things or trying to keep up with anything. He loved the home. I mean, he added on to it 100 times, but it's where they raised their family. And then it was where his grandchildren loved to go and play. And it was where they hosted every Sunday lunch. And it's that sweet little home in Hyde Park on Cedar Oaks Drive.
I have memories of sitting at the kitchen table with her, we call her grandmother Duncan, and he took care of everyone. He never did anything halfway. So I don't even know if people were Gator fans prior to him going to Florida, but he became the utmost Gator fan, and he spread it to us. And I feel like he did that with everything, the way he took care of us, the way he took care of his siblings. You know, he just had the biggest heart, and he never did anything expecting anything in return. He's the most remarkable man.
When we were kids, there was a newspaper article about it, and it was in our building for a long time, until it recently burned down. But he learned from his mom that you get back more than you give. And it goes back to his background of having very little, to where he wanted to share in his success, and he always took it as a reward to be able to give, as opposed to doing it for anyone or any recognition. He just did it because he knew it was the right thing. And again, the thing that you'll hear the most about him is loyalty. He was loyal to everyone. And I mean, to a fault, but he was always going to fiercely back his friends and family.
And he had a way of finding your gift, whoever it was, whether it was a friend or as us as grandchildren. He knew what you loved and he poured into that. And I think that's what makes him so special and beloved to so many people, is that everyone felt like they were the most special to him because he had that way of making you feel like you were the most special person in the room.
So his faith was wildly important to him. And the verse he would always recite was Proverbs 3 verses 5 and 6. Trust in the Lord with all your heart and lean not on your own understanding. In all your ways acknowledge him and he will make your path straight. And the funny thing is the reason that is, it's obviously his favorite verse because he would always say it, but he was also forced to remember it when he was in 7th grade. But so his faith, it's amazing.
He didn't worry about things because of his faith. He let that shine through. He just really did. He trusted in the Lord with everything. And if I would come to him with an issue or a problem, he would say, "It's okay, honey." He said, "Trust in the Lord with all your heart and lean not onto your understanding. In all your ways acknowledge him and he will direct your paths." And it's become this thing that all of us know that verse because of him. And my children know that verse because of him. My 5-year-old recites that verse because of him. And it's just been this echo throughout all of our lives because of that.
Yeah, he loved the generational thing. Every time you'd have a banquet or something, he would call people up. You know, he'd say, "This is the 3rd generation. This is we was actually getting into the 4th generation before he passed." As Wayne said, my brother works there, my daughter works there, my uncles work there, cousins. It's a big family deal, and it's a great business.
Family grow, from 20 great grandchildren that he has, the 8 grandchildren, and his 4 kids. That was success to him, watching them grow. And then just loving his sweet wife, Miss Eloise. Success to him was going to work in the morning and coming home in the afternoon and being with her and the family. If he could inspire others to do things, that was success to him. And he did that many, many times, thousands of times, I would imagine.
For me, I think his legacy is not only love, but also grace. I mentioned loyalty. And the only way you can be so loyal is to be forgiving. And to see the amount of times that his generosity was abused or taken for granted or exploited, yet it never affected him or his relationship with that person. And to just know that there was unconditional love there. He just did a wonderful job of, again, making us feel like we were the most loved, and again, focusing on what our success was. That was all he would emphasize. So it was just an amazing way of growing up, of being encouraged, and it wasn't just us. He did that to everyone around him. It is just an honor to be Mr. Gay's grandson, that we got to call him Pop. And to see who he was, not just to our family, but to the whole community, to his people, to his company, and the impact he made across his lifetime. And to realize the reach that he was able to was so far and so wide on how he impacted someone. And to be able to hear those stories will always just bring such pride. I'm so proud of who he was and all he accomplished, and I'm grateful for the opportunity he gave me, but also to all of my family. And again, to
to make a life for so many, and to look at everyone around him and to love them like they were his own.
So when Mr. Gay returned to Jacksonville, he was an assistant project manager for the Prudential Building, which is called One Call today on the river. And he attributes a lot of his success to the experience he gained from being a project manager on that building. He was included in all the meetings with the owners, and the experience gained from just being exposed to that was invaluable to understanding what it took to be a successful mechanical contractor. After that, in around 1962, Henley and Beckwith, they decided to move away from commercial construction and move into the power industry. So they had bid 2 projects, one in Crystal River and the other in Gainesville. The Crystal River project was a hotel at, I think, called the Plantation. And the project in Gainesville was the infirmary. So since Henley and Beckwith had moved away from the commercial business, they asked Mr. Gay to do those 2 projects. And they also encouraged him to get started. So he took that lead and was basically handed those 2 projects to get done. He got a team of mentors that included Wes Paxson, a local successful electrical contractor, which later turned to Miller Electric, and also Gordon College, who was a Georgia Tech. Wes and Gordon were Georgia Tech engineers, so they knew the engineering side of mechanical contracting business, as well as electrical, of course. And then they had a bondsman involved named Don Robinson, so that was the banking background that he needed to bond the projects. Was a big deal for the construction industry at that time. And that's how he became W.W. Gay, and that's how he got his start. So in 1962, Mr. Gay founded W.W. Gay Mechanical. He started out with 2 employees. It's now grown to over 1,200 employees with offices in Orlando, Gainesville, and satellite offices in St. Augustine, Pensacola, and Tampa. The business has grown. The business has transitioned over the years to be much more than just a mechanical contractor. He's structured the company to serve owners in every capacity imaginable. Our company can do the concrete side of the business, steel, structural steel, crane erection. We have the equipment, tooling, and everything you can imagine to accomplish just about any job.
When he got started, he also started with the 2 employees, but he started hiring the field people, his supervision, and that's where a gentleman named Carl Bowles was a key player. My father, a few years later, came on and started the industrial group, and that's how it kind of, like Wayne said, it just kept spawning and growing from there. My dad came to work for Mr. Gay in 1965, and he's helped start the industrial group for Mr. Gay. Mr. Gay, when he went in business, he knew the need, and he needed that to be successful. And he asked my dad. My dad at first had a good job. He traveled a lot, but he had a good job, and he didn't want to leave. And finally, we were in Connecticut, snow up to the windows of our home, and we were tired of that. So he just called Mr. Gay and said, "Mr. Gay, I'm done. I'm coming to see you. I'm coming Monday." Mr. Gay said, "Buddy," that was my dad's name, said, "I can't afford to pay you." He said, "Don't matter what you pay me, I'm coming home." And that's the way it did, and employees worked for him that way. They wanted to work for him. The reason early on, because there was not another business in town like W.W. Gay. My dad traveled. All the employees in the beginning had to travel for work because work in this area wasn't real great. And they seen Mr. Gay was for real. He had the right stuff to be something, and they wanted to contribute to that. I seen him come in like every Saturday. I'd come in with him to hang out with the old guys, and we would go over to, it used to be the Holiday Inn across the street from our office, and they would work for Saturday, obviously for free, but he would buy lunch and breakfast, and we'd all hang out and talk and tell stories. But I thought that was a great thing, but that's just the way he was, and his employees loved him and still do today.
My grandfather worked for Mr. Gay. He was a union plumber, and my father was also. He worked for Mr. Gay. Of course, myself, my 2 boys, my wife, my mother-in-law. So being family, it definitely is family. And it kind of makes me think about all the Christmas parties that we always had. He loved Christmas. All the decorations on the roof of the building are kind of been in Jacksonville my entire life, and he's displays that every year, so we all look forward to seeing that. The company picnics down at Cross Creek. I can remember going when I was 8 or 9 years old with my dad when he was working for the company, and he'd have airboat rides and volleyball and basketball in a swimming pool, and everybody just has a great time. Getting called to his office, you never knew what it was or what it was going to be. Another time he called me down, he asked me if I wanted to go to the Super Bowl. And the Super Bowl was in Jacksonville. And he said he had 2 tickets to the Super Bowl, but there was one condition. He said I had to take Sherry, and I couldn't tell anybody where I got the tickets, because everybody in Jacksonville is asking him to get them tickets. So he couldn't give them to anybody because he upset the other people that he didn't take care of. So I thought that was a special thing that I guess I can now tell that secret, that he gave me Super Bowl tickets.
My name is Stanley Cantor. I'm very lucky the way I met Mr. Gay. My family has known Mr. Gay before I met him. And I was very lucky that when I met Mr. Gay, he was everything I'd ever thought he was. He's a man's man. I went to see Mr. Gay. He said, "Come on in, Stanley." I came in and sat down with Mr. Gay, and we talked a lot. And everything I knew about Mr. Gay is absolutely true. He's so honorable. He's such a man. And he said, "Stanley, I want you to know, I want you to do everything you can. And what you do, be honorable and do everything you can." So what I did with Mr. Gay was, for years and years, he and I were being good friends. And now on top of that, he helped me get my business started. And he said, "Stanley, this is your chance to be what you can be." And when I started my business, it was in 1983, started First Coast Supply. He was chairman of my board, and I was president of my business. From that, that's what happened with First Coast Supply. Now I've been 31 years later, I've been successful. And the only reason why I've been successful, because Bill Gay helped me be successful, and that was it. I love you, Mr. Gay, and that was it.
I'm Lathan Brigham with Beaver Street Fisheries, and I'm just making a few comments for myself and also for Mr. Harry Frisch of Beaver Street Fisheries in regards to Bill Gay. Bill Gay was probably one of the finest men I have ever met, and I learned so much from him as far as business and from Mr. Frisch as well. But they're both my mentors, and the education that I received from Bill Gay and Harry Frisch is better than any university out there. And along with it was good common sense. Now, some of the places that I learned so much from these giants in the community was Beaches Road Fried Chicken, 2 doors down restaurant, and at Bill Gay's home at his kitchen table. And there's nothing that anyone could do to replace that time just with them. And most of the time, to be honest with you, I was just listening, because these were 2 giants in the community. And Harry Frisch, though he can't make comments right now, he loved Bill Gay. Thank you very much to the Gay family, and your dad was a wonderful, wonderful man.
I worked with him in the real estate side. He was an investor, and some real estate projects we had. We did some golf courses and some other things together. I handled consulting for him and the family for years, and then him and I were partners in some real estate ventures later on in life. And so I got to drive him around in the last few years. I'd pick him up on my way to work in the morning, and I'd drop him off at his office, and I'd pick him up on my way home. And so I got a lot of wisdom in the morning and the afternoon from him. It was just a great ride. Enjoyed it. So, but that was my roles with him, and just, being friends. We usually agreed on most things, and when we didn't, he'd let me know, but he still loved me. Mr. Gay would define success as if others succeeded with his help, that was success to him. It wasn't as much about what he got as what he gave. So success to him was watching you, succeed, and whether it was advice, financial help, just connecting you with the right people, being there to talk to you when you had a troubled time, that was success to him.
I guess I would say he defines success as God, family, and then business and friends. I remember a young man sat at the table with us at Rotary one day who didn't really know Mr. Gay, and I don't know how the conversation got around there. He said, "Well, have you ever read the Bible, Mr. Gay?" He said, "I've read it twice. I'm on my third time. Is that enough?" And so he knew where his success came from, and he gave thanks to all of that.
We receive these large table sponsorships from companies I had never heard of and haven't heard of since then. They were companies that he helped form. There were some of his employees that went out on their own, other people that he met and felt strongly about and supported, and helped them start their company. Bill could have branched off his own company and taken care of those needs, but instead he supported employees and other people to start their own companies. And I thought that was rather remarkable.
I went to him one day, we were just talking, and I said, "Mr. Gay, how did all this come about? I was part of it because I did grow up there as a kid, but I was very young. And I seen it grow from nothing to where it is. But he said, I'm living my dream, son. This is my dream. And I have lived my dream. And I got to thinking about it. I think the legacy is he made a lot of other dreams come true through his dream. He made mine. He made everybody's dream come true because of what he did for the families, the jobs, the community efforts, the donations, the ball teams, the county fairs, the FFA. But he did that, and that was all part of his success, which he went back to the employees. The employees was the best in the business, and he believed that, still believes that, and he contributed that to the Lord and his dream, and he made all our dreams come true.
He always gave the employees the recognition for his success, and the good Lord, the company being blessed with having worked through tough times, and it's been an incredible 55 years. And the way we see it is this company is structured to carry on for another 55 years plus.
Tell me what Mr. Gay meant to you.
Mr. Gay meant the world to me. He was a wonderful man. He was my reason to get up and go every morning to take care of him for quite a few years, and it was an honor and a pleasure to do that.
All right, Mr. Gay, the most wonderful man you will ever meet.
Oh gosh, Mr. Gay was more than just an employer. He was more like a father figure to me, and I'm probably gonna cry. He was so always loving and caring, always wanted to know what was going on in your life, and he really made you feel like you mattered. So he was just the most wonderful man, and I just loved him.
Mr. Gay to me was a very godly man, and very humble, very caring.
To me, Mr. Gay was just an amazing man. He, like Bobby said, so kind. He cared. He listened. He was like an amazing boss, but he was more like family, more like a grandfather. I loved working with him the times that Bobby was out of the office. It was extra work, but it was amazing. I just love working with him.
What Mr. Gay meant to me what a true value of a man really is. From a young age, when I started here at the company, there was value in family, value in what you are as a person, and he put a lot into that.
Hi, my name is Rick Catlett. I was former president and CEO of the Gator Bowl. I met Mr. Gay when I was about 25 years old, first going into politics here in Jacksonville. What a great man, what a great mentor. For 40 years, he's been involved in my life and my career, church, helping my daughter on her mission trip. Just a great man that did so many things and never wanted any accolations about it. I'm so impressed with how he has felt about this community, the love for Jacksonville that he's done and given to this community. To have an opportunity to say nice things about Mr. Gay comes natural. I have sat in his office many, many times and heard all the stories about Gator Bowl. He was the chairman of the Gator Bowl in 1972. We're both Gators, so there was a tremendous love for the Florida Gators and the orange and blue. One of the things that people don't know about Mr. Gay is that he also was a big contributor to the University of Georgia. Now, one might say, how can a Gator contribute to the Georgia Bulldogs? It was only to get more tickets to the Florida-Georgia game, obviously. A lot of his friends were Georgia people, and he wanted to be able to take care of them. And, his love for the Gators came through at a very early age. Once he got his business up and running, and could afford to make contributions to not only the Florida Gators, to Jacksonville University, to the Gator Bowl, the Jacksonville Jumbo Shrimp. He just got involved in sports and loved sports. And he put his company's weight behind that. And I just think a man that started off, 1, loving his God, 2, loving his family, and 3, loving sports, and especially the Florida Gators. Once a Gator, always a Gator, and he's been that way his entire life. They have a skybox down there. Every time they do a renovation project, his company is involved. I'm not sure how it interfaces with Shands at the University of Florida, but his company does a tremendous amount of work at that hospital, and so I think this is the love of the Florida Gators all these years. And if you'd ever gone into his office, there were a couple of things he was really proud of. He was really proud of his national championship ring that Florida gave him. Very, very excited about the Suns tickets at the time, now the Jumbo Shrimp, giving him a ring, and we had an opportunity to give him a ring from the Gator Bowl. Very proud of those rings because of his involvement. But I want to say one thing about sports. It wasn't just limited to the big sports like Florida football or the Gator Bowl or the Jumbo Shrimp. Mr. Gay was very much involved in Little League. He was very much involved in volleyball. Just walk through his old office and see all the pictures and all the awards that he received. And of course the YMCA. He's been very, very much involved in the YMCA. You know, they're not making people like that anymore. People are concerned about their business. They're concerned about their families. And that's pretty much the limit of what their involvement is. But Mr. Gay wasn't like that. Mr. Gay believed in Jacksonville, believed in being involved. There's so many fronts that he was involved in, from politics, sports, helping people's families. I've already said that he helped send my daughter on her Christian mission. I don't know how you can say enough, or how you can portray the type of individual he was and the caring person that he was. I loved hearing all the stories about Mr. Gay, telling the stories about the Gators and his involvement. He's told some tremendous stories about the Gator Bowl, and the one that comes to mind the best is Shug Jordan, who's the coach at Auburn, got a call from Bear Bryant. And Bear Bryant said, "Shug, we need to help out the Gator Bowl. They're struggling a little bit. Why don't you take your Auburn boys and go down there and play?" And he said, "Well, Coach Bryant, as long as I don't have to play Alabama, I'll be more than happy to do that." He loved that story. He told it all the time. So that's really where he developed his love for sports, was at the University of Florida. That's where it all started.
It's such an honor for me to be given this opportunity to say a few words about Bill Gay. Obviously, I've known Bill Gay my entire time at the University of Florida. I can remember when I first got hired as ticket manager in 1977, he called me up and wanted me to come to Jacksonville and meet him, and obviously I was honored to do that. I heard a lot about all he had done for the university and for the Gators, and I drove up there, and I think the meeting was twofold. I think he truly wanted to meet me. I think he also wanted to make sure that the Georgia-Florida tickets that he was getting, I still gave him, and obviously I did. Through my time at Florida, and certainly during my time as the athletic director, I had no bigger personal supporter than Mr. Gay, and certainly this program had no bigger supporter than Bill Gay. He loved the Gators. I remember him as being such a good man, always treated me with incredible kindness. I loved being around him. He certainly didn't miss many football games here, and he loved when we were successful. But the thing also I loved about Mr. Gay was that obviously we didn't win every game, and we had a few seasons that would probably be classified as, down. He never complained. He never weighed in. He just kept coming, kept supporting the Gators. He's as good a person as I've ever met in my life. So, as I said, it's my honor to know him. I'm honored to have this opportunity today to talk about an incredible Gator, incredible person.
I know all of us Gators mourn the loss of Bill Gay. What a wonderful Gator. What a big instrumental person he was in the University of Florida. I think he had a hand in my hiring way back in 1990 also. But Bill Gay from Jacksonville, Gator Bowl Hall of Fame, really one of Gator Booster's top guys. And we all mourn the loss of Bill Gay, but we certainly will never forget him. He is truly a great Gator.
Hi, this is Scott Strickland, Athletic Director at the University of Florida. And I'm so excited that we have a day to honor Mr. Gay. Obviously, he's a great Gator, a very supportive Bull Gator, and I know he was really passionate about the orange and blue, and likewise, the Gators were really passionate about Mr. Gay, and like all of you, we miss him quite a bit. But his legacy lives on, obviously a special man who touched a lot of people, and we miss him. I'm sure we're glad he's a Gator, and excited everybody's honoring him on his day. Go Gators!
So I was incredibly fortunate to meet Mr. Gay just shortly after acquiring the Jacksonville Suns. It was late 2014, and I got invited over to Mr. Gay's office. And as I walked into the office, I was a little nervous. I knew that Mr. Gay was a legend in town, and I walked in and I saw all of that incredible memorabilia. As everybody who's been in his office knows, he kept everything. And he was sitting back in his chair, sort of gnawing on a jar of Tupelo honey. And he had a smile on his face, and he said, "Son, this is the good stuff." And we sat down and enjoyed a wonderful first conversation, which later became a wonderful long relationship over these last several years. But I will always remember Mr. Gay smiling and filling his life with something sweet, that honey. And it's a part of his legacy that I will remember forever. Mr. Gay was first class. He was considered of the highest ethics in Jacksonville. He was a community supporter. He loved to give back. He knew that his company had played an institutional role in the growth of Jacksonville and felt throughout Florida a requirement, I think, that it be part of his character, part of his value to give back to Jacksonville and to our community. And we were fortunate at the baseball team to have a wonderful relationship. I always remember him bringing friends, coming up to the suite on the second level of the ballpark and coming in. One time he had Artis Gilmore with him, and another time he brought friends of his that he'd known for several years, and of course he loved bringing his family to the ballpark. That was what made him the happiest. When you live a life as full as someone like Mr. Gay, you really make a contribution not only to your community, your company, and to your country, but he believed at the end of the day that I think his legacy was his relationships with people. And that was personified in the way that his company was built, in the way that they interacted with clients, with partners, and with the community. And I believe the legacy ultimately left by Mr. Gay will be one of high integrity, of quality work, and great service. And that's how he lived his life, and we were fortunate to see that and know him personally, but I know the legacy of Mr. Gay will live on through his work and through his family.
Hi, I'm Peter Bragan. The first time I ever went to Mr. Gay's office, I went with my father, and they both, Mr. Gay and my dad, were Shriners, had their shrine pin showing, and Mr. Gay said, "Boy, you ever thought about becoming a master mason?" And I said, "You know, I almost did DeMolay in high school." "Yes, sir. I thought about it. I think it'd be a good thing." Bam! He called this lady, Thelma, I think, came out there. Mr. Gay signed my petition to become a master mason. It wasn't but a week later or so, I started to trip on through to becoming a 32nd degree Mason and Shriner. You know, he was a giant of a man with a heart as big as all outdoors. He is being sorely missed by his family and all of his employees, who he would be quick to tell you were the best in the business. Jacksonville has lost an icon, and his like may never be seen again.
Well, he loved Pedro and the Bragans very much. Same kind of support that he was giving to the Gator Bowl, he gave to the minor league baseball team, again, because it had the name Jacksonville in it. Whether you call them the Suns or the Jumbo Shrimp, he always had a skybox at the stadium. Those kinds of things are very important. I don't know if people understand that owning a skybox at the stadium or owning a skybox with Jumbo Shrimp, how important that is to the financial well-being of our organization. So he loved the Suns. He loved that ring that he got when they won the championship. And he's always been a big part of the Jacksonville baseball scene. In the last 25 years that I've run the Gator Bowl, had it not been for W.W. Gay and W.W. Gay's employees, I'm not sure the Gator Bowl would still be here. He came on as our presenting sponsor, contributed obviously a major amount of money to us, but the support that he gave us, we always had all of his employees coming to the game. He provided them with tickets. We provided them with an event. He really cared about his employees and he cared about the Gator Bowl, and matching the two together seemed to be very successful for all of us. And I honestly believe that if Mr. Gay had not supported the Gator Bowl when he did, we would not have a Gator Bowl today. I personally had an opportunity to name the field during the Gator Bowl Classic after Mr. Gay, so it's now called the W.W. Gay Field, to repay the support that he had done for years and years and years. I mean, if you think about it, 1972 he was chairman, and we're talking about 2020, and he's still a major supporter and a major part of our organization. That's a lot of years to give to an organization like ours. I just felt like it was an appropriate tribute to Mr. Gay, and also my fellow board members thought that that was also a good tribute. So we had the great opportunity to unveil that while he was at the game, and it's sort of special. So when I started in government, I went to work for the mayor, and one of the first people I met was Mr. Gay, and we went to lunch, and he explained the important things in life, obviously family, very much a family man, driven by his Lord and his Savior. And he just wanted me to understand that you have to love Jacksonville to do what I was getting ready to do. And every step of the way in my entire career for the last 45 years, Mr. Gay's been there for me. To go and get his counsel at his office or in a group of people. They had a breakfast club. He went to lunch a lot with people. The kind of man he was is a role model for all of us to follow. And I hope in some way I have repaid his trust and his faith in me by being a good Christian and being successful on my own in what I've endeavored to do, because he worked hard and I felt like I needed to work hard, and God bless him, and we're going to miss him. Jacksonville's going to miss him.
I met Mr. Gay for the first time in the 80s knew of him very well. At that point, even he was well known in the community. And if it was orange and blue and in Jacksonville, he was there because he's one of the biggest gator boosters I'd ever met in my life. And then 10 years later, I joined Rotary. And we worked on some projects together, but the big thing was he was kind of one of those guys at that point in time in his life that he had worked on this project, that project, things like that. And now it was a lot easier at his age and all to write a check, which he always was very good at. And so I got to know him through that. I'll tell you a little story about him. This talks about dedication. Back in my day, or the early days of Rotary, if you were to miss a day, like today's my regular Rotary day, if I missed today, in order to keep perfect attendance, you had to make up the meeting. Well, you either had to go 2 weeks before the date of your meeting or 2 weeks after, so you had a 4-week period there. And Mr. Gay had to have open heart surgery, and it was on a Friday, and he went to St. Vincent's, and we all sent a card to him and all. Well, the next Wednesday comes, here comes Mr. Gay walking in, and he made Ms. Gay stop for the business part of the program, so he didn't have to go anywhere. He came to our club, did the business thing, got back in the car and went home 5 days after open heart surgery. So that's how dedicated to Rotary he was, and he was that way with everyone.
I'm Steve St. Amand. I first met Bill Gay in 1984 when I moved here from Tallahassee to work for the Chamber of Commerce. And he and some of his good friends were very active then. I then caught up with Bill much later in about 2000 when I became the president of Junior Achievement of North Florida. Bill had been on the inaugural board of Junior Achievement in 1963. So he and a group of men decided that this was important, and his passion for free enterprise fit right in. And so I went to visit Bill, and he had continued his support since 1963, every single year. And so I reacquainted myself with Bill, and he remained active with Junior Achievement. We honored him twice. First as a Hall of Fame laureate, and then the second time we put together a very special event for he and Harry Frisch of Beaver Street Fisheries, and gave them the Lifetime Achievement Award for Junior Achievement. So Bill has been a good friend and a good friend of not only of Junior Achievement, but many other nonprofits that he believed in. Because Bill thoroughly believed in giving back. That's almost become a trite term now. So many people say, I want to give back and whatever. Bill did. Most of the time, if not, I would say that the vast majority of the time, people wouldn't know it. Bill wasn't out to claim glory for himself in his philanthropy. He wanted to support what he believed in, and he did and continued to support it. And every year we would get support through the Bill and Eloise Gay Foundation, or Junior Achievement would get support for their Hall of Fame. And one thing I remember vividly about Bill and his support for the organization was that he wanted his employees involved. And he made sure that they were participants, that they came. Most of them probably would not have come to a Hall of Fame, would not have had the opportunity, but he made sure that they did.
My name is Ronnie Fussell. I was a former clerk of the court for the last 8 years. I just retired in January of this year. And before that, I was a real estate developer. I served 6 years on the city council. I was president in 07, 08. And also 95 to 99, I served as one of John Delaney's deputies, one of his aides for 4 years, and went back to private business. So been here my whole life. I met Mr. Gay, and sometimes I might refer to him as Uncle Bill, because that's how he's been affectionately known for years to me. I met him, my office, when I first came to the West Side and started in the real estate business, my boss then and one of my other mentors, our office was on the way to work for Mr. Gay. And so he'd come right up Cassett Avenue in his big Lincoln and whip into our office. And they all believed getting up early and going to work early, you know, like at 6 o'clock in the morning. So me and Walter would be there, and Walter and I would be there. And Mr. Gay would come in. They were Gators. I'm a Bulldog. So they had a lot of fun. But I would usually just be the guy to get them coffee and kind of chat. But then Mr. Gay would always call me in there, you know, say, "Hey son, come on in here, sit down, talk to us." So he was just always, you know, welcoming to me and just wanted to know how I was doing and just sit and talk to me. And so, you know, at that time I had no clue he'd ultimately be, you know, one of my best friends and mentor and my hero.
When I got into the nonprofit environment, I got to know him even better, and that's when I really saw his philanthropy come to fruition, because I'd go to him and ask him to, would you give me for this, would you give to that and all, and he always was there. They had in 2009, I believe, a group of the most influential people in Jacksonville, and he was of course one of them. The one thing that I did find out about him is I was looking at a different job, and it was with a national organization. And I was telling him about it. I called him and I said, "Can I come by, talk over a proposition that I'm looking at? I don't know if I'm gonna be selected or not, but I wanted to get your 2 cents worth." And I went in, and it was a national organization. He said, "You know, they do good work, but don't ask me to give you 1 dime, because I'm not gonna give to a national organization. My money stays right here in Jacksonville." And I've always thought about that, what Jacksonville would be like if all his money wouldn't have stayed here.
Back in the mid-'80s, the Morocco Shrine Temple was sold downtown, and they needed to build a new temple. So Mr. Gay opened a company called Temple Construction, and he actually built the temple at cost. He got all the other subcontractors involved. Many of them donated labor and materials. So the Morocco Shrine Temple out on Southside Boulevard is a huge facility that Mr. Gay basically built and was instrumental in donating to the cause. And that's just an example of the many things he's done. He's done similar things for churches, where he'll finance a project for a church in order for them to be able to expand or upgrade their HVAC being heating, ventilation, and air conditioning system. He would pour concrete for the equipment, or do whatever it took to get the job done for the church. There's been so many times when we had to do other trades work just to get our part done, because churches just didn't have the funding to make the overall project happen.
Bill loved our financial literacy and our entrepreneurship programs and our workforce readiness programs. He absolutely adored the fact that we were talking to young people about free enterprise, about how to make it, about how to save money, about how to create a business. And those were all things that Bill was very, very interested personally with adults. And the fact that we were doing it with young people was critically important to him. Important enough is that he was on the founding board of Junior Achievement in 1963, and kept his interest up throughout the whole time that I was associated with the 20 years that I was associated with Junior Achievement.
My name is John Gear, and I've had a very special long-term relationship with Mr. Gay. Deb has asked me to briefly mention a couple of things that I remember distinctly about him. One of the things that I'll always remember is what a generous person he was, both financially with people and institutions, but also just a generous spirit. The other thing that I remember distinctly is that his positive personality was reinforced by the fact that he never looked back. So while everything worked out generally great for him, once in a while things didn't. But things that didn't work out were quickly forgotten, and he pushed on to the next thing. So he was an extraordinary person, and just full of love for his employees and his family and for the community. And I'll always be grateful for the time that we spent together.
He had a wide variety of interests. I mean, there was junior achievement, there was the Rotary, there was the Boy Scouts. I mean, you know, of course, Florida Gators, and there were things that he was just passionate about. And the good thing about Bill is that if he was passionate about it, it was real, and it wasn't something in passing. I mean, his almost 50-year association with junior achievement is testament to the fact that if he believed something, he stuck with it.
We became a Rotary Club of our own away from downtown Jacksonville. Well, a few years ago, we had our 50th anniversary, of which I volunteered to be the chairperson, and Mr. Gay was, needless to say, one of the honorees, Bob Shearcliff, a few that had been there since the beginning. And he was so well thought of within Rotary, he was able to get the international president of Rotary, which is a real big deal, it's worldwide, to come in unannounced and present Mr. Gay his 50-year plaque as a surprise at our banquet that we had for that. It was just, to me, it was obvious that's who you'd want to get to lead your organization. He had done so well. He was just a born leader, period.
Bill was an influence, and he was an influencer. He's one of those people that if you put the top 10, top 15 people in Jacksonville together, Bill was there.
He was honored by J.U., Flagler, and of course the University of Florida. He was really, really high on education, particularly young women and young men that didn't have it just handed to them, that they had to work for everything they got. And he admired those people because they came out, busted their rear end, got their degrees, and then became productive members of society. So he was always very high on that. And that was whether it was academics or technical, because of course his company is a very technical company.
There are a lot of ways to describe Bill. Bill was a good person. I mean, he may have been a great businessman, he may have been et cetera, but at his core, he was just a good person. And anybody that met Bill walked away and said, I've just met a good person. And that probably defined Bill for me better than anything else.
He was always grateful. He was always thankful. He treated you the way he wanted to be treated. And he also, we were in, like I say, several different ventures together. And even when I wasn't in the ventures, I still would help him. But he was in ventures that sometimes other people would just bail out of them when they got tough. And he was the kind of guy that he stuck it out. He'd pick up other people's slack, whether it was financial or work. And it just, always stuck with me. No matter how hard it is, and sometimes it's tough, he finished it. He picked up other people's slack when they wouldn't do what they were committed to doing, and he would do it. And that's just the way he was built. And so that was, meant a lot to me. It taught me a lot over the years of finishing the things that you start, and even when other people might quit, you don't quit.
A motto that we have at Rotary called the 4-way test, and it's how we live our lives, and we always say it before we adjourn for a meeting. And it's number 1, is it the truth? Number 2, is it fair to all concerned? Number 3, will it build goodwill and better friendships? And number 4, will it be beneficial to all concerned? And he exemplified that to this day. I try to do the same thing, because if you can follow that, you can't go wrong in this life as far as I'm concerned. You're going to do the right thing. You're going to tell the truth, and you're going to be the best that you can be. And I attribute that to Mr. Gay.
Hi, I'm Senator Rick Scott. I'm proud to celebrate the life and legacy of Bill Gay. Bill was a beloved husband, father, and grandfather, dedicated to serving his nation and community. Together, we can carry on his legacy by finding joy in helping others and making a difference in the world around us. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Eric Mann, President and CEO of the YMCA of Florida's First Coast. We're so excited to be a part of this evening in celebrating the life and the service of Mr. Gay. Mr. Gay was very involved in the YMCA. He was an active member. His company was very involved with a lot of the work around the Y. Mr. Gay was a big supporter of the YMCA. This evening is about celebrating his philanthropic spirit and his service back to the community. The YMCA is very fortunate to be one of the organizations that benefited. Mr. Gay was an active member at our Winston YMCA, formerly known as the Yates YMCA, and before that, the Downtown YMCA. We were very fortunate in 2016 to build a brand new YMCA, the Winston Family YMCA, of which Mr. Gay's name is one of the sponsors for that particular Y. The YMCA of Florida's First Coast, we have 5 counties that we serve: Duval, St. Johns, Clay, Nassau, and Baker counties. We do all types of programs. The YMCA is more than a gym, from after-school programs, youth sports programs. Tiger Academy is our charter school that we work with. We also do work with adults with disabilities at our Daystar program in Clay County. Our oldest branch is Camp Immokalee. Camp Immokalee has served this community for over 112 years. We're still making lifelong progress, not only lifelong progress, but young people working and participating in Immokalee is still going strong. We are very excited again about really what this event is all about, and that is celebrating the life of Mr. Gay, but also the philanthropic spirit and the giving back to the community. And the YMCA is so excited to be a part of it.
Hi, my name's Tim Burrows, and I'm the Executive Director of the Winston Family YMCA in downtown Jacksonville. We are so honored to be a part of this evening to celebrate the life of Mr. Gay. We couldn't make this happen without our sponsors. A big thank you to W.W. Gay, Florida Blue, Miller Electric, amongst others. We'd also like to thank the committees that helped put this event together. We had our event planning committee that was the behind the scenes that kind of put all of this together for you tonight to celebrate Mr. Gay's life, as well as, most importantly, the legacy committee. This was comprised of family, friends, and co-workers that shared stories, photos, letters, you name it, to really paint a picture of how Mr. Gay affected the city of Jacksonville. So we are grateful again to be a part of the event this evening with you all. And now we're actually going to show you a short video about some of the impact through the programs we provide at the Winston YMCA in downtown Jax. What a special evening celebrating a wonderful man. We hope that everyone has enjoyed hearing stories from family, friends, and community leaders about the impact Bill had on them and our city. When we discussed how to honor such a great man, we wanted to find a way to help carry his legacy into the future. For this reason, we have created the W.W. Bill Gay Community Impact Award. This award will carry on the legacy of Mr. Gay and be awarded annually to individuals in the community that focus on the betterment of our city through family, faith, philanthropy, and public service. On behalf of the Winston Family YMCA, I have the distinguished honor to present this inaugural W.W. Bill Gay Community Impact Award to Mr. Gay's family. It's with great pleasure that we present this award to you. Thank you.
Thank you so much for allowing us to be here. We're so grateful that the First Coast YMCA created this award. We want to thank our sponsors, Florida Blue, Miller Electric, Tax Slayer Gator Bowl, Tom Barrow Company, and the Train Company. It's an honor that we get to share the stage with those sponsors who are also very important to the Jacksonville community.
Thank you all so much for recognizing our dad, our grandfather, our great-grandfather. We have 3 generations represented here tonight. Daddy was an integral part of each of our lives. And we just wanted to thank Tim Burrows, Mike Biagini, Eleanor Lanza, and Deb DeMars for coordinating all of the interviews and the letters and the different types of recognition to Daddy. I know they had fun hearing his stories. He was quite a character, and he added so much to everyone's lives who knew him. Thank you so much for sharing this with us so that we can have a recording and we can all watch it over and over. And we just thank you so much for the time and effort and keeping his memory alive.
We're not done yet. We have a few more surprises to share with you all that will carry on the legacy of Papa Bill Gay at the Winston Family YMCA. Moving forward, the Winston Family YMCA will hold an annual event that focuses on programs that impact our community through healthy living, youth development, and social responsibility. In order to carry out these programs and services, we rely on the generosity of giving from those that believe in the mission and the cause of the Y. With that said, we have created the W.W. Bill Gay Scholarship Fund. This fund will provide the opportunity to give on behalf of a great man and support our Winston Y and its programs that impact our community. The Y never turns anyone away for the inability to pay, and the funds raised on behalf of Mr. Gay's Scholarship Fund will provide opportunities for those that need the YMCA in their lives. The last surprise to honor Mr. Gay and carry on his legacy will live at Winston. I would like to unveil a rendering of the W.W. Bill Gay Community Impact Award plaque that will hang in the lobby of the Winston Family YMCA. Each year we will add the name of an individual or organization doing impactful work in the community. I would like to leave everyone with Mr. Gay's favorite scripture that he would share with those he came in contact with during his lifetime. Proverbs chapter 3, verses 5 and 6. Trust in the Lord with all your heart and lean not on your own understanding. In all your ways submit to him, and he will direct your path. Thank you.
We can't thank you enough for spending this evening with us celebrating the life of Mr. Gay. We look forward to annually carrying out on his legacy. And we're excited to announce that nominations are open for individuals or organizations who do great work for the city of Jacksonville. The W.W. Bill Gay Community Impact Award will be a lasting tradition that will be given out for years to come. Nomination details are coming soon, so start thinking about that special person or company who you think does great work in downtown Jacksonville. We invite you to stop by the Winston Family YMCA at any time. Take a tour and learn more about their programs impacting the First Coast. Thank you again. We appreciate you being a part of this incredible evening with us. Have a wonderful night.